I wrote, directed, and starred. Thank you, Richie. He was the bodega guy. As well as yeah, he's great. I wrote, directed, and starred in You Look Great, which is my first short film and based off my personal experiences with eating disorders.
Hi, I'm Linnea, and I was in Lacey and Kristen's short Women's March.
Hi, I'm Lacey Jecka. I wrote and was in Women's March.
Hi, I'm Peter. I shot Women's March.
Woo! Right, awesome. So I think what's really great about these films is that they're both really extremely different. But they, but they both get at these like really socially relevant topics, I think. So I don't know if you guys wanted to talk a bit about what drew you to these topics. I know you mentioned this was your own personal experience. If you guys want to talk about sort of how you came to feel like you needed to make these two shorts.
Sure. So yeah, I've been struggling with eating disorders for a long time, and at one point I came up with like a script idea, like, oh, wouldn't it be interesting to see these sort of things on screen with it? And when the script got more and more fleshed out, and I was just like, oh, you know, like I really want to make this a thing, and I was just like, all right, well now I kind of sort of have to come out and, you know, tell everybody that this is something I struggle with, and that was sort of like a really crazy thing, and I need to raise money for it, so sort of in like a very big publicized way, I needed to tell people about it, and I had suffered, you know, long enough and felt so strongly about this story that I was just like, yeah, I really want to do it, and it was kind of interesting because when I told my parents, originally, because they had known that I'd been dealing with this kind of stuff, they were a little hesitant because they're like, oh, you know, you're sort of put like, they're kind of of the mindset like, oh, you're airing, you know, dirty laundry in a certain way, like they're of the generation, like this is like not stuff you talk about, you sort of like deal with this on your own, you know, people are going to worry about you, people might not hire you, you might not get jobs, they're going to think you're unstable. And I was like, no, I'm really confident that this is going to bring people together and make people feel less alone and more connected, and it's just like an important story to get out there because, you know, historically, this is considered more of like a feminine issue, like even in like the DSM, it was, I think, primarily categorized as an affliction for women. And so it's been, I think, really important to show that like everybody can suffer from pretty much any sort of mental disorder. And yeah, I think a lot of people were surprised that a man could, or even like a straight man, could deal with these issues. So yeah, I just sort of like ripped the Band-Aid one day and posted on Instagram like, this is what I suffer from, this is my story, I'm trying to make a film about it, and it's been really amazing. The community that has rallied behind it, it's been really inspiring.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, my comedy partner is not here right now to speak to this, but I think she would agree that we just wanted to do sort of a fun critique on white feminism and the emphasis that was on social media instead of actually the movement during that time and now. Yeah, do you want to say anything about that?
Well, I didn't make it. I enjoyed being a part of it. And, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's a good critique of that.
I guess we could open this up if anybody in the audience has a question for our filmmakers. Yes, Bodega Man? Yes?
How's it going? I don't know if I asked you this now already, but Justin, did you actually throw up, or is that?
No. That was, I think, some combination of split pea soup and oatmeal and other things. But yeah, I had to do that a lot of times. No, I did not actually throw up. I mean, the one take in there, which is probably one of my favorite, which I think is one of the most jarring, is the take where I first try to make myself throw up. It's like that long take of me bent over the toilet. I am actually gagging myself pretty hard, and those are all very real noises. So, but yeah, besides that, I did not actually throw up.
We
Sorry.
also did not throw up.
I was concerned.
Yeah, this is a question for you. So I was
sure.
curious, how did writing and creating this film kind of help you process, or maybe even like hinder your processing of the eating disorder?
That's a really good question. I think it's helped me because it's made me in a certain way accountable, because it's just like, oh, you know, I've put this out there, and while, you know, it's obviously my choice whether or not to continue the road of recovery, but I think it's just like, you know, now there are kind of like eyes and attention on me on this issue, and also I feel like a certain sort of responsibility, because I'm sort of saying like, hey, we need to have more open dialogue about mental health, and you know, there's help out there if you need it. So I think it's, you know, it's, yeah, I think it keeps me, yeah, it keeps me honest. It keeps me sort of like more compassionate and loving to myself, and trying not to judge myself about things. And it was good, but also, you know, I mean, I don't think triggering is the right word, but like revisiting all of those behaviors, it's like, you know, those are on the screen because they come from very real places, you know, like the sort of like the investigating the body, the over-exercising, the sort of drinking coffee to avoid food, and the overeating and stuff like that. It all comes from like very, very real places. So in some respects, revisiting those things with people like, you know, with a camera here and people all watching you, you know, because obviously like when I pinch my stomach, I'm not like looking for an audience, you know, I don't want someone to catch me doing that. But that's the whole point, is to show you're trying to like hide that and you're looking at yourself in the mirrors. So I mean, yeah, it was a little trying at first to like, you know, show all of those like things you try to keep secret all the time. But yeah, I think it's mostly helped in terms of just like keeping me, yeah, on the straight and narrow. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I got a ton of questions. This question's for, sorry, I forgot your name, so I was blanking. So I was trying to ask this question, but now it sounded stupid. But what made you guys want to do I really like the whole documentary style thing. What made you guys want to shoot it like that?
I really wish that Buckles was here, because that was a her thing. I think that was more about her character wanting to get into Sundance, and how women's suffering was going to help her journey as a filmmaker, and using that to her advantage. So I think that's what created the like mockumentary deal.
And we talked about it on set, and I thought it just made it more interesting, you know, like if it's just three random people, it's like, oh, who cares if they go to the women's march or not? But you're like, oh, it's three like influencers or something, you know. I think it adds another sort of layer to it.
Question?
Yes, up top.
Question for Lacey. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
You did.
Awesome. So I guess, you know, since you guys have a great, you know, comedic dynamic, and it's a film versus, you know, you guys going out on stage and working out, how do you get feedback on what bits work and what don't?
This is the feedback. We usually do live shows, so it's easier to know if we're bombing or making people laugh. With this one, we really trusted Peter to sort of like let us know what was working. He was sort of like our outside audience, and if you were chuckling, then we felt like it was working, but otherwise, we didn't really know. We try to make ourselves laugh, at least.
Absolutely. If I can also just speak to that, I will like do anything that they let me do, because I just think they're like the funniest people in the world. I might be over supportive, but like I just think they're so hilarious, and it's really like if you can make the people on set and the people you're with laugh, then you know you're doing something right.
There were a few takes ruined because I was laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. I was going to ask, were any of these, you were talking about doing stage work, right? Was any of this originally from stage work?
Oh, we talk about white feminism a lot on stage. Maybe too much. I think I think that this was all new material, but it's something that we've been working out for a few years, and that is always developing as things are changing. Thank you for the question.
Yes.
So, for you, Justin, I was wondering, what made you want to do the whole kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it, like the split personality or like the imaginary dude thing?
Oh,
as
yeah,
opposed to
yeah,
just having,
the
like,
Fight Club.
like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know where, I know what sort of jump-started the script was the climactic scene, which was in the bathroom, which is like, you know, obviously him gagging me. And I think it started something just kind of like, oh, I was just thinking about what to write about the script. It's like, oh, you know, we fucked up if you saw somebody like trying to make someone else throw up. And I was just like, oh yeah, how do I make that happen? And so I sort of wrote the entire script around that. And the big thing that I was sort of worried about, well, not worried about or thought about with concerns to that sort of trope is like, oh, the personified thing, the guy who isn't really there, is that in no way was that supposed to be like the twist. Because you know in Fight Club or whatever, it's just like, oh, he wasn't real the whole time. Yes, I'm sorry. Sixth Sense is very similar too. Like I was just making sure like that isn't, I want from the get-go people to like know that he's not there. It's like, how do you establish that this guy isn't there and also continue to make it interesting, knowing that he's not there? And so that was sort of my, I think that was my difficult task. But yeah, I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to be like super realistic. I mean, it's like, I think I tried to keep it as realistic as possible with the idea of this personified person, because like, you know, I just really like nitty-gritty realism and dialogue and like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it just came from like, oh, wouldn't that be kind of fucked up? And then it's just like, oh, because it does feel like that voice on your shoulder the whole time, just being like, work out more, eat less, you're disgusting, like, ew. So, yeah, that's kind of just where it came from.
Any more questions? Yes.
You're
doing great.
This is for Lacey. Did I get that right also?
You did.
The second time.
I was wondering, well, personally, I think I'm terrible at writing comedy, so I was wondering, like, what made you want to make this a comedy as opposed to a drama? Does comedy help get your point across better than you think a drama would, or it's just preference?
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of really valid critique on this issue already that is serious and dramatic as it should and can be. This was just our way of getting it across in a way that we didn't feel like idiots doing it, taking on an issue like this, because we're dumb. I think that's why we did it this way.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of find that expressing my anger through anger doesn't work. It's not fun to watch, and I like watching fun things, so I like making fun things. But I also feel like literally this short being aired now, as opposed to 2 years ago when it was like so much more sensitive, is actually far more relevant, and like I feel so much less angry now than I did 2 years ago, and so I can really fully appreciate what we're doing. And in the moment, you know, we were having a ton of fun and it was great, but I don't think the world was like ready to accept the fact that what happened 2 years ago was so incredibly ridiculous. And now we're ready to put it all behind us.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? No? Okay, great.
Probably think some later.
Yeah, tackle them later, just ask them some more. All right, amazing, thanks guys.